A new law aims to give state officials and local law enforcement the power to enforce immigration penalties. The law allows the state to charge someone who enters Iowa if that person had been denied entry and deported before. It also allows judges to order the person charged to return to the foreign nation they came from. The fight against that law made it to a federal courtroom today. Advocates against the bill are suing the state and Attorney General Brenna Bird, and today oral arguments for an injunction on the law took place. Our Dana Searles was in the courtroom and breaks down what each side is arguing.
The state says it has every right to enforce federal laws, while the other side says there is already enough federal jurisdiction over immigration laws. But the word that both sides use to describe this case is unique. The word used to argue this case from both sides is preemptive. This comes up when federal law says you cannot have a particular state law. The Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice and the U.S. Department of Justice argued Congress has left no room for states to make decisions on federal law. It also says federal law does not allow unsupervised decisions, and this law goes against limits that Congress has put on state officials.
It shows how remarkable this law is. It is a state-led immigration enforcement regime. It would be unique if it were allowed to go into effect.
The state argues it has a sovereign right to police and enforce its own territory. Iowa is simply enforcing federal standards. And while the Constitution says federal laws can set the standards, it does not say the states lose the right to enforce those standards. Overall, the lawsuit surfaced because Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice and the DOJ says there will be a dramatic impact if this law is enforced.
It's unworkable. It's creating fear and driving misinformation in immigrant communities around our state.
The judge acknowledged that he is the first step in this lawsuit, and he plans to rule on the injunction before July 1st, which is when the law becomes enforceable. Outside the federal courthouse, Dana Searles, Local 5 News.
Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird released a statement regarding her defense. She says, quote, "Since Biden refuses to enforce our immigration laws, Iowa is doing the job for him."